This is Grosswirth from Rochester, New York. I received a call from a good friend today alerting me to the fact that a conservative Catholic referred to me as a heretic on his blog. Now, this is not the first time I have been called a heretic, and I'm sure it won't be the last time. And I am not bothered if someone wants to give me such a designation. Recently, I have been fascinated by all the images that have come to us from the Hubble telescope. These images have helped me to realize that the universe is indeed much larger than we ever envisioned. Over 2,000 years ago, which is the beginning of the church as we know it today, very little was known about the origins of the universe or how big it really was. At that time, the hierarchy of the Catholic Church in its infancy had a very archaic view of the relationship between human beings and God. The understanding at the time was that the earth was the center of the universe, and anything that was to be determined theologically would center on this relationship between human beings and God. Through the centuries, when anyone wanted to challenge this primitive understanding of human beings and God, they found themselves in trouble with the Roman Catholic hierarchy. We recall the very divisive battles that occurred between the Vatican and Copernicus, and later between the Vatican and Galileo. It was encouraging for me to learn that the late Pope John Paul II was a friend to the scientific community, and he was very interested in astronomy. In fact, today, there is an official Vatican astronomer. There is concurrence between the Vatican and the scientific community that the universe is indeed a very large place. To put it into perspective, Carl Sagan asked us to envision the universe as a very large beach. Using such a scenario, he then asked us to envision the Earth as a very tiny grain of sand on this giant beach. This is helpful as my theology has evolved over a period of years. Before studying theology, I spent several years in the study of philosophy. From the very beginning of time, philosophers have tried to figure out a purpose for our being. As stated, once theology began to grow out of philosophy, we began to look at the relationship between human beings and God. Although the Church fully understands that the universe presents all type of capabilities, or possibilities I should say, they still work in this very archaic mode whereby the perception is given that the Roman Catholic hierarchy has all the answers we need to know about God. My argument is simply this. All we can say with absolute certainty about God is that he is mystery. I am therefore the very first to admit that there is much more I don't know about God than what I do know. What I have come to believe about God is that he wants us to be compassionate human beings. If God were to decide someday to abandon the earth, I would not at all be surprised. When one considers that from the very beginning of time, we have had wars of one sort or another, and look at what we have done to the beautiful environment that was given to us by God. The most recent example is the catastrophic oil spill that we are continuing to come to terms with. When I am referred to as a heretic, it is because some conservative Catholics are upset over the fact that I don't follow all the rules set forth by the Roman Catholic hierarchy. If I don't follow these rules, it is because I don't believe that the Roman Catholic hierarchy has the fullness of truth about God. I believe when one considers the vastness of the universe, there are intelligent beings in other worlds far superior to ourselves. Whether or not such advanced beings have a better understanding of God than we do is an open question. So for the Roman Catholic hierarchy to expect us to blindly follow rules that have nothing to do with faith, I continue to raise questions. If one considers me to be a heretic because I simply say that all we know about God with absolute certainty is that he is mystery, so be it. I continue to go about my ministries as an independent Catholic. Like many, I continue to question religious institutions that claim to have the absolute truth about God and what is willed for us. Let us pray that as we continue in this search for an understanding of God and the mysteries of the universe, that we all have an open mind about what the future has in store for us. Thank you for listening.